Oh my goodness.
Hey.
Hi. Hello there, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, hi. Hello. Hello. Hi. Hey, hi. Hello. We clinking? I'm singing, I guess. New Warriors. Come out to play. There we go.
Woo!
We got a show on. Just to think, 60 seconds ago, Jarrod, I wasn't even here.
I know. Talk about a run-on landing. It's like,
Oh, but combat landing. There you
That's
go.
right.
There we go. And then we just executed the version of a combat. I don't even have the script up, dude. My goodness.
I have the script up and my pants down, so I got you covered there.
Man, I appreciate that. I should probably start reading the script here. Welcome to Come Out to Play, everybody, a New Warriors podcast. I'd be Delvin, the guy that comes in like about, what was it, 11 seconds? 11 seconds.
It's 11 seconds when Delvin popped in and was like, hey, it's time to start the show.
Jarrod's over there.
I was ready, man. I had a plan. I was like, I know how I'm going to carry this until you show up.
Man, I appreciate that. And, I appreciate you. You didn't even text. So I appreciate you.
I was like, yeah, he's coming. He's coming. And if I had started soft shoe and I would text you and be like, hey, don't forget we're doing a show.
Jarrod. Didn't have to worry about that. Oh yeah. If you're watching the show with us, thanks.
Yeah,
Welcome.
thanks. Welcome.
And please like and subscribe. I think YouTube does this thing now where it takes all of like the impressions from both Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and combines them into one. Like we did a show on Sunday, a Do It live stream, and like we got up to like 70 impressions, and like all of us are sitting there like, what? Are we being discovered? Are we being seen? Not
get it out there. Share it with some friends. If you're watching right now, click share and send it to somebody and say, watch these morons talk about New Warriors, and we won't we'll try not to disappoint.
It is a 78% guarantee that we probably won't disappoint you, maybe. Oh,
60% of the time, we work every time.
that somehow makes sense. Yes. Hello to everybody in the chat. I'll scroll all the way up and read some names. Auburn, Elvis, LONGBOX CRUSADE. Wait, no, that's our podcast network. AU, Kathy, Billy Dunleavy, and Jason Lady, Trey Black. Who else am I missing? Linkovich just came on like as I was doing the scroll.
Matt Passo.
Oh, Matt Passo too. Oh, there it is too. Just popped up. The Passo pop up, as it's known.
What's up, Matt Passo?
What's
Wink,
up, Matt Passo? And I think that's everybody. I haven't even introduced the guy to on the screen. It's my left, but if I'm looking, it's over my right. Either way, it's Jarrod Albrecht. Some call him the Yard Sale Artist. Some call him Death Probe. Some call him J Bone with the big balls. Okay, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just a name that I made up. But it's okay. He's about to ask me a question that I don't know about. That question is, and like sometimes he just thinks of that question with about 11 seconds to spare, which is okay because these things happen. And I'm not vamping for time at all for Jarrod to come up with a question.
I got one.
See, because there it is. He had that question before. He had that question before I even started saying things for Kathy just has another name for Jarrod, which is Hot Nuts. You keep that up, you're gonna have as many nicknames as me. I don't know. I keep adding them seemingly by the podcast. Any of it, questions, Jarrod, me.
All right,
go.
So tonight's theme has a lot to do with rage and anger and all that.
Mm-hmm.
What is when you think rage-filled moments in comics? What springs to mind? What's your most rage-filled moment that you think of when you think about rage-filled moments in comics? I'd be interested to see what folks in the chat have to say. Not like when you as the reader were mad, which has been me for like, I don't know, the last 15 years. But I'm talking like rage-filled character moment in comics.
Okay, I got an answer for you. If anyone cares, I had to stand up and turn on the fan because we're at that point of the year, right? We just did the spring forward, and today it says it's supposed to be 70, and it was like 77. And we don't have air on yet in the house, right?
Ooh, that's gross. That's gross.
So like I just had to turn on the fan, so that's why I stood up. The most rage-filled moment that I thought of was some random moment in Spectacular Spider-Man. Not gonna be able to tell you the issue, but at the time, like Spidey was going through some stuff, and like when Spidey gets dark, sometimes my boy gets dark, and for whatever reason, like he took it out on poor Scorpion. Like Scorpion was like kind of not really even doing much. Like, I mean, like whatever he did was like, I'm talking about like a 2 or a 3. It wasn't like nefarious. And Spider-Man, who by the way, they've always historically portrayed as being physically weaker than Scorpion. Like, I just was like, you cheese me off, Mac, and that makes me, I remember just like mad, and you just like, wow. To where like the Sal Buscema was drawing and like Scorpion was just like, oh.
Like, I remember that. He's like all bruised and swollen. And,
like, no more, please stop. Like, you usually don't ever see Spider-Man like that ticked off. So it said something very, very, very poignant that he was that ticked off. J.M.D. Mateus wrote that as well. That was during his big run, probably leading up to Spec Spidey 200, which was a great story. Do you have one before I'll start looking at comments?
I do. Well, you start picking up the comments. One of the first ones that leapt in mind was also a Spidey one where he just had enough and he squared off against Firelord, who was way out of his league, and he brought him into his league. And then he won the league championship because he wailed on Firelord until Firelord couldn't move anymore. That was pretty cool. The other one is not so much Marvel or DC, but it's Dark Horse action, Sin City in the Yellow Bastard storyline. When our hero, what was his name? Somebody in the chat will remember. It's played by Bruce Willis in that arc. He finally gets a hold of the yellow guy, and he beats him until the guy has no head. He punches him until the guy has no head. So, yeah, I've seen some good ones in the chat.
Yep, I'm still starring actually. Let's see. Here. Okay. I starred 9 comments. So I'll save the one for last because it's going to be a transition. But Billy Dunleavy says, when Magneto killed those dudes in God Loves, Man Kills. I read that. I am blanking on.
It's been a while.
Yeah. It's been a while. Well, I mean, we did just cover X-Men 150, and he sunk some dudes in the submarine, and I thought that was pretty cold-blooded. Like, hi, this is hologram Magneto. Real Magneto is going to be sinking your ship now. Das Vidania. Let's see. Albert Elvis says the cover of Amazing Spider-Man with the death of Gwen Stacy. And Matt Passo says Snake Eyes with the Saw, Viper Revenge. Do you know?
I've actually never read that. I haven't read a lot of the later issues of Joe, so I look forward to reading that as we podcast our way to it on Aaron Moss's Real American Headcast.
Word. Trey Black says Magneto beating the brakes off of Red Skull. We did read that one.
I think we did.
We did.
Then you left him in the basement or something.
Yeah, it was a part of
Acts of
Vengeance. Yeah, we covered it. Was it during a jail May or just?
It was on Bailey's. We were guests on Bailey's podcast.
Okay. Yep.
I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a jail May, and it was Acts of Vengeance, and yeah, like, I give Skull credit for a regular human. He lasted a long time, and Magneto's like, I could kill you, but I'm gonna just leave you here. Like, so yeah. Eric Porter, and I believe later on Auburn Elvis had my back saying what I was talking about was Spectacular Spider-Man 216, which was the start of the Clone Saga. And Jason Lady says, good question. Spider-Man beating Sin Eater nearly to death and came close to also beating up Daredevil 2 when Daredevil interfered. Spidey was righteously pissed because Sin Eater murdered Jean DeWolf.
I remember that. I was reading that at the time. And
Trey Black said Doom being absolutely livid with Cloak and Dagger when Cloak's Dark Force used his mother to try to soften him up.
Oh, I remember that.
I don't. Where was that?
I think it was in. He may be able to correct me, but I think it might have been in the Cloak and Dagger. And if I'm wrong, that's fine. But yeah, I remember when Dagger or Cloak, like brought forth Doom's mother to try to appeal to him, and he was like, "Don't you dare!" And it was like on like Donkey Kong. Cloak and Dagger number 10. Thank you, Trey, and thank you, Auburn Ellis. The dude's name in Sin City was Hardigan. That's the character who beat the yellow bastard to death with his bare hands, and it was pretty gross.
And one more. Scott O'Neill says probably the Rorschach. You're here. You see the you're in here with me bit. Like I remember that part.
That's a good one.
And how did I forget? Spidey also had a moment, and it was after he revealed his identity in Civil War. And Kingpin went after his folks and basically had a sniper that almost took out Aunt May. Do you remember this?
Yeah. I remember that now.
And this was J. Michael Straczynski, I believe. And Peter Parker or Spider-Man broke into the prison where Kingpin was, took off the mask.
That's right.
And was like, "Come at me, fat man.
Let's go." You and me. You want me so
grabbed
bad?
him by his chest fat and just slapped them. Whack, 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 whack. Like, oh my God. It was insane. And then it's like, I did say I was going to kill you. I didn't say when. And it was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, straight gangster.
Like, it's like, Peter, you know what? We talked about this on Twitter in a different realm earlier, but it kind of reminds me of Rocky from Rocky Balboa. He's a nice guy fighter. But if you get on his bad side, you're not coming back.
It's one of those, and that happens a lot with powerful people. You realize that, like Spider-Man, every time that he punches like a regular human, he's holding back like a lot. Like he's only doing enough to take you out, as opposed to, liquefying your face. So so you get him mad enough, and he, that slips just a bit, and not good. Not good at all. Let's see. Was there anything else? Kathy says they would never kill off Aunt May.
Lord knows they have tried and tried and tried.
Oh, yes, they would, but she gets better. Let's just say that. And let's
remember that issue she said, "I know a thing or two about heart attacks."
Yes.
And that was like 1981.
We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. We are Aunt May. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, man. All right. So we should probably go on. Even good question, and it spawned off a lot of other good ones.
Good stuff in the chat. Thanks, everybody, for playing along.
And after I read the boilerplate, there's one other comment that's going to lead me to a segue. Come out to play, everybody, as a chronicling of the 1990 series, The New Warriors. The first volume of New Warriors ran 75 issues. Jarrod and I will cover all this first volume as I rediscover my love for the series, help Jarrod find his, and share a love and joy with the listening audience. Grab your skateboards, your bucket helmets. It is time to play, but Jarrod wasn't asked to do this only because, I did this literally today. The question asked by Linkovich was, speaking of rage, anyone reading the new Night Thrasher series? So I'm a part of the New Warriors Talk Facebook page, and I think it was Matt Passo, but if I'm wrong and you're in the comment, please step up and ask me. Like, I was asked quite a few times because I don't know if you noticed, Jarrod, I host a show. It's called Come Out to Play, and it talks about the New Warriors and stuff. I know, but I still do it. And like people ask me, like, "Dude, are you reading the new Night Thrasher?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got it in my pull list, bro. Heck yeah, I'm gonna be reading it." And I'm always months behind on my new comics. So I went and opened the boxes, and there wasn't no Night Thrasher there, and I'm like, "Uh-oh, that's good." So thankfully, Charlotte has a couple of LCSs. And I feel so bad for blanking on the name of the local comic book store I went to. I'm gonna have to make up for them. But I went in there today and picked up the latest episode, or the first episode or first issue of the new Night Thrasher, which was written by Jay Holtham and drawn by Nelson Daniel, I believe is how he pronounced it, because there's an accent mark over the A. So. Yeah.
Froze Pat right up.
And so it was good. Like, it speaks to a lot of the history that we've already talked about. Like, I always appreciate when a writer of the present, you know that they have read some issues in the past, and not just like 4 or 5. You can tell that they read some stuff, and you can tell that this man went back and covered and read all of the New Warriors thoroughly, and it was awesome. So like it started off very, very much like anything that Night Thrasher would do. He's coming back in, from quote unquote outer space. And he was about to leave right out, but he was pulled back into an adventure. And it's I don't want to give away too much, even though this is going to come out podcast form 6 months from now. Maybe somebody watching it live might be interested in watching it. I see it, Jared. And it was, let's see, who from the past that we're discussing now, excuse me, was in it? Thrasher, Silhouette, Midnight's Fire, who Matt Paso was referring to in the comment, and Rage. And let's just say Rage wasn't happy.
On brand?
It was on brand. And like the last time that I saw Rage in even relatively recent comic book lore, he was a part of Captain America, the Falcon Captain America. And he was not having a good time. Like, they were basically trying to, wherever city, they were trying to impose like a martial law. And Rage got beaten nearly to death. My man was like in a hospital bed. Like, Rage, big old strong Rage, was put in a hospital bed because he was beaten badly by some mandroids. And so the man hadn't had any reason to, change his name from Rage to Sunshine by any means, unless it was like an ironic sunshine. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but no.
Sunshine. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, so far, like that first series and, Cord. Cord was in the book as well. So like just the attention to detail to history just made my heart soar. It did. I was like, oh man, he took Fabian's material and just decided to continue the story. I haven't asked Fabian these days what he feels about it. That's probably not a fair question to ask, a writer. Like, how do you feel about somebody basically treading on your old territory? So I won't do that. But if I had to guess, I think he'd at least be a little bit proud of how his stuff was being honored here, because you can tell that the man took the property seriously and took it with some respect. And it motivated me so much. I dropped the letter into Marvel Comics, and I haven't done that in forever, Jared. Like, I haven't even written Amazing Spidey in forever. I wrote a letter to Marvel Comics just telling them this is awesome, and I hope like heck that it spawns off even our Night Thrasher ongoing, or maybe even a New Warriors ongoing. Fingers crossed. You never know. But y'all, the written letter means a lot. If you are a New Warriors fan, if you're watching this, or you listen to this, write in to Marvel Comics. I think it's mheroes@gmail.com, and tell them that you like Night Thrasher. Like, it was encouraging because the place that I get my comic books from, normally Atomic Empire, they were sold out of all the copies except for like one variant, which they came out with multiple variants of Night Thrasher. So they sold out, and that is kind of cool. That means that there's at least some interest going on. I don't know if it's playing a part of nostalgia. I think personally that like they took the opportunity to work on the property and do it the correct and respectful way. And that's all anyone ever wants from a property that's like a few decades old, that you're going to take it and it was somebody who's writing it that had a love and affectation for it as well. And they're just going to take it and do something with it because it just kind of stirs that childhood in. And so my not so quick review, it was flipping awesome. Loved it. It was great. I've already made sure to put on my pull list for 2, 3, and 4, and I hope there's more to come.
I watch Airwolf.
Jared watches Airwolf a lot of times during Auburn basketball games, which we don't play on Friday. It's awesome.
I know. I'm
I
so excited.
know. Let's
I
see.
will say this though, since you mentioned Fabian, maybe not weighing in. That is to be expected. Lots of people in the chat know you and I do a James Bond show, and we're fortunate enough to be kind of internet and quasi friends with Raymond Benson, and Raymond's podcast with us several times, and we've asked him if you want to be more regular, but he always said, "I don't want to review anybody else's work. As a Bond writer, I don't think it's my place to critique or review anyone else's work." And I always thought that's very cool. And I imagine Fabian's probably similar.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and star a few comments very quickly about what I was talking about with Night Thrasher, and I won't be too long on this. Let's see. Sorry for that silence, everybody. But now I'll just read a few comments. Jason Lady says, it was good to hear. I was worried about the modern, cooler than thou snarky comics attitude would get brought to Thrash. And it'd be a ton of yuck, he's a loser, he rides a skateboard, der. No, not at all. None of that. And who knows? Maybe he pulls a 180 and does that, but he certainly didn't do it the first issue. Stop it.
You said what? It's a skateboard reference.
I got you. Yeah, Jay Holtham. I got to remember that name. Jay Holtham. I don't know. And it just says J period. So I'm going to have to look up his name. Maybe it's Javier. Maybe it's Jarrod. Maybe it's Jason. I don't know. All right. Auburn Elvis asks, Delvin, does his face get punched in the new issue? You'll have to read it to find out, but yes. And how? Matt Paso asks or says, you can tell for sure this dude has some history of respect. Agreed, 100%.
That is good to hear, because I'm very skittish like Jason Lady. I'll sort of be the voice of Jason Lady. There's been a lot of modern, let's tear down characters type of deal. And it's good to hear that this one sounds like it's being handled really well. That's good to hear.
Well, we're not at that point at the New Warriors, but it's a slight spoiler in a sense, but when Fabian rolls off the book, Evan Skolnick will take over the book. Evan Skolnick got the book because literally everyone else who pitched for New Warriors was like, okay, I'm going to start off by killing all of the New Warriors. What?
All right.
What? Anyway, maybe I'll rant about that later. Matt Paso, talking about the new Night Thrasher series, says, I haven't seen them in a while. So great to see more characters popping up. Really hope we get more guest stars and this leads to more New Warriors goodness. I know somebody that said something like that. Scott O'Neill says, I still need to snag it. No comic book stores near me and been crazy busy waiting to hear about a new job. Scott, if you really need the book, I can mail it to you, man. And just buy a new one. I'd be more than happy to do that, man. Really appreciate everything you do to the show. So if you let me know your address, I will send it. And Eric Porter says Night Thrasher has enough street level rogues where he could have been reintroduced in Gang War. That's true. Right now in Spidey, Gang War is going on. Haven't read it in a few months, but got it stacked up. But yeah, there's a Gang War going on in Spidey that had a very good build up, by the way. It was real good. So with that, we are going to talk about New Warriors issue 37. And yeah, a few people in the comments, when I was sharing this with New Warriors Talk, I noticed that it says come out to play episode 38. And I saw it and I was like, but I can't change it now. I don't think. So we're going to have to live with it. And you'll probably see next month that it says 38, but that'll be the true 38. Yes, this is New Warriors Come Out to Play, episode 37. And we're talking about issue 37. Cover credits go to Derek Robertson and Larry Malstead. Jarrod's about to bring up the cover shortly, and we're going to talk about it.
Yes, indeed. I was just changing the banner, and now the Cavell. I'll actually end up hiding that banner so that we can see all of the Cavell. All right, there it is. Am I supposed to talk about it?
If you want to.
Is that what we do on the show? All right. Well, I think the most striking thing about this cover would be the border, which is in sort of a raspberry color, maybe a fuchsia, and it matches nicely with the Marvel Comics logo in the corner box, which has sort of reminiscent of the Fantastic Four corner box, actually, if you ask me. But hey, the New Warriors logo is the New Warriors logo, and it's a lot of yellow with some light blue enhancements. Your main cover focus is a big headshot of Rage, and he's clearly rage-filled, so much so he has tears in his eyes. And the bottom half of the cover is in fire, and Rage himself, out of costume, is cradling the body of his dead grandmother.
Mm.
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 Mm. There you have it.
What do you think about the cover?
Well, it's very, very memorable. It's by that I mean, of course, if you're flipping through a bin and you see it, you're going to be like, "Yeah, I remember that one. That's the one where all the stuff goes down." With the New Warriors and their families and their private lives. And so it's going to be easily recognizable. Now, artistically, I like its way it fades from, inside the fuchsia border, from black to flames. I think it's a good look. I think I'm half and half on the border. I don't quite know why we have one. It kind of works. I would be interested to see what it looked like if we just zoomed in a little bit and hit it, just covered it with the art.
Yep.
But it's not that I don't like it. It's just I just wonder what it would look like without it. So it's a striking and memorable cover.
So I'm going to describe the cover and give my comments on it. And quick question though, Jarrod, how did you read this?
On Marvel Unlimited. I am out of the trade paperback that you gave me. Is we've passed it now.
Does it have the letters page in Marvel Unlimited?
I don't think it did.
Okay, then I got something I want to show you, and I'm going to ask you about it. But with this cover, it's striking. Like Pat normally on Amazing Spider-Man Chronicles, and occasionally you do will credit the you'll credit the inks more. Pat does the colors, and both of them shine brightly here to where those flames are the offset of everything. Like you can tell, like those flames are affecting the big profile image of the face of Rage. Like that's going on, and then you have Elvin cradling his grandmother. Like, oh my God! And like there is no question that the young man is in absolute agony over the seminal mother figure in his life, like dead in his arms. Like just it is striking. So yeah, I give that. The cover is absolutely memorable, and next cover is going to be memorable too because spoiler if you haven't seen it, or it's going to be Rage again jumping into action, and they do it. And Derek does another great job on this. This is right about the time, man. Derek, boy, he is on it as far as look. I got the long and the short of these characters now, and I'm ready to cook. And the man cooked on this cover. Like I have nothing to say but wonderful, positive things about it. Now, with that, it's not going to be the easiest to see, but I'm going to try and bring it up here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So this was posed as an alternate cover for the book. So I want to ask you, like, which cover do you prefer? Which cover would
okay.
So stirred you a little bit more?
I thought you were trying to show us the hey art lovers thing. Move it to your right a little bit. There you go. Okay, so it's similar in tone, but I think artistically the one they chose was the way to go.
Okay. Because I mean, they could have done more of the fire thing with Firestar, but I was just interested to see your opinion, and if the listeners were watching and were able to see it, like if whether or not they prefer the Rage cover or whether they thought that the Angelica cover was a little bit better. But as is, this cover is an absolute monster of a cover. And I might even go so far as to say it could be Derek Robertson's best cover that we've done so far. There might be better ones coming up, but this is a good one. This was a memorable one. And this was right about the time to me where Derek Robertson really just started cooking with the Warriors. And so with that, we're going to rate the cover 1 to 10 nightsticks. And I am at a 9. And I'm talking about when I am staring at it like I could easily be prompted to say 10, but like the emotion stirred in the cover and the emotion stirred in the cover combined with it's just a dang good drawing combined with this is something that is accurately portrayed in the book. This is a thing that happened. Both of those things, like him putting on his mask and saying, I'm about to beep some people up, son. Like all of that happened in the book, as well as his grandmother unfortunately passing away. So I give it a 9. What do you think?
I'm with you at a 9. I think I will also underscore the good use of color by the colorist, putting the flame, brightness of flame in his skin tones, under his eyes, in the big headshot of the mask. And of course, the artist himself, Derek, putting the flames, drawing the flames as they reflect on the mask. That's what really sells it, because they could have done like an angry face mask and then a flame bottom, but the reflection of the flame, as you mentioned before, ties it all together. It's very, very artistically excellent. I give it a 9. And the more I think about it, I'm wondering if they did the border because of if you made it any bigger than the New Warriors logo covers more of his head.
Maybe. I also think that it's possible, like, especially that starkness of the black background, that they didn't want the entire cover to have that black background, maybe.
Something.
And it gives them the opportunity as well. Like they've been, pushing that New Warriors logo with the triangle. And it gives them the opportunity to kind of show that a little bit more too. So I think it just makes for a good offset personally.
Yeah. Someone in the chat, it might have been Matt. It's past me now, so I can't remember. So I apologize if it was somebody else. Said it reminded them of a trading card, and I said that's exactly what I thought. It has a trading card quality.
We got a lot of comments on this, man, and I'm going to try and read through them I was going to say as quickly as possible, but that would make it seem like I'm apologizing for the comments, which I have no reason to. Jason Lady says, I like the alternate cover better. I have to admit, more of the solace gets used, and I get the perspective used on it. Did he mean space, maybe? I think he meant space. More of the space gets used, and I like the perspective used on it. The Rage cover is kind of boring to me. He gave it a 6.
Damn.
Jason's in the minority on this one. Matt Paso says, even though I love Firestar, I think Rage was the way to go. Trey Black says, I'm with Scott on this one. That costume hit hard. And Jason Lady comes back and says, cover showcases the new Rage mask. We barely had the old mask around for any amount of time at all. I find the new costume to be over the top. I like the old new one better. So he likes the old costume better. And I believe he's mentioned that before. And Auburn Elvis says, get used to the border. They will be around for a while. Scott O'Neill says this Rage costume is oddly polarizing. Some folks hate it, but to me, it's by far his best costume. So, I mean, he spoke to polarity already. He spoke to the positive side of it, and Jason Lady's like, no, I didn't like it. I wasn't crazy about it. If I remember when they introduced it, you weren't that crazy about it, right, Jarrod?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the history of the Rage costume now. I feel like it's changed a couple of times.
It did. Like he had it was sort of, I think, bluish black with like kind of like yellow tiger stripe.
Tiger stripe is
and
the
had
one I
a jacket
remember.
And it had a Rage on the back of it.
That's
just
the one
in
I
case
remember.
You didn't remember who he was. His name was on
His name was on it. That always helps.
Yes. Auburn Elvis says, it seems like a memorable cover. I'm not a fan of Rage's mask. I give the cover an 8, but could be talked into a strong 8. Linkovich gave it an 8. Says good cover. Kathy gave it a 9. Trey Black says it's a 9 easily. This one hits you in the gut. Scott O'Neill gave it a 10, says that he loves it. And Matt Passo said, I would give it a 10. Normally not a big Rage fan, but this hits, and I don't think it would happen. This cover delivered on that. And last but not least, Scott O'Neill says, not having the text saying dad works better. So he's referencing the Firestar cover.
Yep,
it lets the emotion of Derek's art carry the load. We're going to see we are going to see a similarly wordless, highly emotional 2-page spread about 2 issues later.
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
Unique New York. All right. Let's see. We read some comments. We already read the cover. So, Jarrod, mind giving us a cover description, please? Not cover description. Reading the cover credits.
Sure enough, we are talking about New Warriors number 37, no matter what the title of the live stream says, which we can fix it in post. By the way, we'll fix it over on YouTube and it'll be all right.
Thank you.
No problem. Its on sale date was May 25th, 1993. Its cover date, July 1993. The cover price is $1.25. The old Storty. Been doing this for how many years now? The story is Fabian ECA's. The pencils are Derek Robertson. The inks are Larry Molstedt. The colors is Joe Rosas. The letter is Joe Rosen. And it's still edited by Rob, Ninja Turtles villain Tokar. And we appreciate Mike's Amazing World. Rest in peace, Mike.
Appreciate that, Jarrod.
And I guess it's synopsis time, is it not?
It is synopsis time.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Title of this book is Family Values. I'm not sure there's a big enough fan for all the ish that just hit in this issue. Kimiko Ashu, otherwise known as the guy named Marita had a one-night stand with, is the leader of the Poison Memories, who Night Thrasher tried to dismantle. Now it's Kimiko's turn, and with Rage's grandma and Firestar's dad taken down, as well as several other Warriors family members kidnapped, Kimiko is taking one hell of a swing. So let's talk about it. Jarrod is going to bring up some stuff like in the form of images. We're going to talk about those images. And there we go. What you got, Jarrod?
Let's get into it. I have 10 of them tonight, so let's be fleet of foot.
Okay.
The first one pretty much echoes the cover. It is the title page and all that jazz, and it is Rage, and he's on fire, and he's attending to his now passed away grandmother, letting us know that things have gone wrong. There's actually a page or two that come before this. It shows the unpleasant memories, whatever they're called, blowing up their house with a rocket.
Jarrod, it should be easy to remember. You know, they're poison. See, there you go. You get music value for free here.
That's right.
While Rage is on fire and his grandmother's dying. No, we're not good people. So, yeah.
We're not.
Yeah, the tone was set immediately. Like, if Fabian wanted to say, like, no, I'm serious. This issue's going to have some impact. What better way to do that than, like, not only have you taken out, like, Grandma Staples has appeared a couple of times in the book, but Rage is like one of the characters of the Warriors, and the person that he loves the most in this world has just been taken out on page 3. Whew. That's a page setter.
You got that right. And we're going to continue with this theme because I just basically up front picked all the pages of the bad things that happened to the family members. And here we have Nova's brother getting kidnapped. The very heavy-handed book of My Brother's Keeper in the foreground in the last panel. I was like, okay, we got it. I laughed a little bit. And I was like, okay, we got artsy here for a second. I got it. But that made me chuckle a little. But, yep, the terror of the Poison Memories, which really should have been like a Metallica album name. Like their 5th album is Poison Memories. Yeah, they're making their move. And so this theme will continue.
Jarrod, we are not going to do the thing with poison memories that we've done.
Are you sure? Because I got more.
Stop it. You stop it. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have anything else other than to add to that. Yeah, looks like our Rich Rider's brother has been kidnapped. So far, Granny Staples unfortunately killed. Rich Rider's brother kidnapped.
All right, for those of you who are watching live, keep your eye on that last panel and the van driving off and the book that I made a joke of before, because I appreciate the artistic theme of look at what happens on the next one. See the last panel, and now it's a briefcase with the van driving away. Isn't that clever? Now that is clever. All right, and this is where someone else gets kidnapped. I'll remember who it is in a second.
Speedball's dad.
Speedball's dad. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I read it. I swear to God.
Speedball's papa, who initially was supposed to get sanctioned. And sanctioned, by the way, in this reference is another word for but they changed it because Kimiko was not happy that Granny Staples was killed. And I don't think you've gotten to this point. I don't know. But no, you haven't yet. But Angelica Jones's father also was shot. Those things were not supposed to happen, and he wasn't happy about it. That
was interesting.
Yeah, so he hit a Uno reverse on Speedball's dad and said he is not to be killed. He is only to be kidnapped now. And what you forgot to mention is that in a further point of artistic congruity, inside of the briefcase is a book called My Son's Keeper.
It's a book on how to not get kidnapped. It's even more straightforward.
Help, I've been kidnapped by thugs.
Hang on a second. I hate to interrupt the show, but I have to order the latest Legend of Zelda game, which is called Legend of Zelda Poison Memories. All right.
Got it. Making it a thing anyway.
I'm going rogue. All right. The next one is, as mentioned, I chose a different page. Earlier, page before, maybe two, is where Firestar's father is shot. Like, dude shows up to his front door and straight up just shoots him, which apparently was not part of the plan. That guy didn't follow directions well. Kind of important. But instead of picking that moment, this one had more fallout. The other two is people getting kidnapped, so there's more to come, right? But the Granny Staples one, that's fallout. And this is also fallout. And now that makes it more interesting to me that you showed me alternate cover, because these are the two moments that were picked for the covers, was the rage moment and this moment. And I thought this was very well drawn. I've noticed a little bit of Derek Robertson kind of over the top angry face in this issue a few times, but in this instance, I think he really, really nails angry, determined. That's a great drawing. Firestar looks beautiful. She looks angry. She looks determined. He's got it all in that image, and he did a great job.
And what they also did was like pierce through that veil that she hadn't told one of her best friends on the planet that she is a superhero. And as soon as she saw her dad, she sparked up and was like, no, and then immediately went into hero mode. It's like, I got to get him to the hospital as quickly as possible. Like, we're not doing the car thing. I can get him there faster as Firestar, which meant that on the other side of it, this flying superhero or character is going to appear at some hospital somewhere with a man who is dying or near death. So, like, she has basically said, to hell with my secret identity. The most important thing in my life is taking care of my father right now and making sure that my father is okay. So there you go. Like, so you didn't mention that point, but everything that you did mention, I agree with. I thought that as well, like, especially because you use a certain term and I'm like, let's hope not. The comment by Auburn Elvis was that Jupiter probably has cancer now. I hope.
He's being carried around by a microwave oven.
I certainly hope not. Let's see. I don't know which panel this was, and I'll slightly modify since we're not supposed to curse as much. This being Longbox Crusade. Scott O'Neill says that top panel though, GD. I think we all knew by this point that they wouldn't let Derek stay on New Warriors for long. So damn good. And it's like, I don't know whether it's this image that he was talking about or the last image, but yeah, either way.
I would say it's this one, the capturing of the pain in her face at the top. Yeah.
And once again, they do a great job of, that like she has fire powers, but she has enough control that obviously she's not cooking her dad. So like she's keeping the fire behind her, and that lighting on it is phenomenal. It's just, again, one of those beautiful like comic book moments where a team of the artist, the penciler and the inker and the colorist go together very, very well.
I'll be that cynical comic reader guy for a minute and play the role of her friend. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're a superhero? You've always had an incredibly fit body and the flowing red hair of Firestar. I never pieced this together."
Well, I mean, similar like a Spider-Man, right? It's like Pete, for a photographer who I have literally never seen work out, for a 5'10", 165-pound dude, you are jacked.
You are tight like a tiger.
Are you doing some CrossFit in your empty apartment? I mean, it could be a CrossFit dungeon. There's literally nothing but like a couch.
That was like the best part of like the Smallville TV series when it started with Clark in high school and he was like the nerd. People picked on him. It was like, it's Tom Welling. He's like the dreamiest looking dude of all time. Like, what? What? Anyway, we got distracted.
Yeah, it's like, the Warrior nerd's like, "Oh, I'm sorry.
My bad. My rippling pecs, my charming smile, my chiseled features.
Somebody save me." Next page, there.
Next page. Okay, so I did a little bit of, we saw all that go, pretty much how it flows in the comic book, but we sort of saw all that go down, and then we sort of see the machinations behind the scenes.
Machinations
of the poisoned memories. And so that's the only real reason why I included that and the fact that it's very clear now. I don't know if it was before. If it was, I may have missed it. Sometimes I'm a little slow. But it's very clear now that this is about poison memories and Night Thrasher. Mm-hmm. And that goes back, I'm pretty sure, to the miniseries that we read behind the scenes. That was a few months ago, and a lot's happened since then. But I was like, I think this ties into that miniseries that we read for Control. And I just included it to sort of remind our listening audience and our viewing audience that that's where it goes back to. We talked a little bit about on the show. We didn't specifically cover those issues, so don't go looking for those podcasts. They're not numbered properly anyways, but either way. That's why I included this, just to sort of touch base with why this is happening and who's pulling the strings.
We talked about it a little bit at the end of last episode.
I knew we did. I just couldn't remember when.
Yeah, because Kimiko, who at least, if I didn't remember if they gave him a name at the end of last issue, but he did mention that he was going to take revenge on Night Thrasher specifically by taking out members of his family, essentially. So, what do you think about Kimiko? I mean, we could talk about that now. Like, how do you think he's being portrayed?
With a bit of respect, I guess is the word I'll use. Like, he's the leader of a street gang, really, but he's given more gravitas than your average leader of a street gang. Like, he's calculating. And he's cold calculating. He seems to be in control. He doesn't put up with his own people messing up. He's very much a Bond villain. He's a Bond villain. That's what he is.
I was gonna say, you always give Sanchez. Thank you. I'm so happy I remember that name. Sanchez. Like, he kind of reminds me of that because in a sense, he is a man of honor. In that he flat out told the Warriors, like, you guys are a means to an end, and that end is Night Thrasher, but I did not tell them to kill your family members. That's on me, and I'm going to take care of it. And he did by literally killing all the people that had something to do with it. So it seems like the man has some sort of sense of honor. And so there's that. And he's also been portrayed as measured and under control, because like when they called and gave him the bad news about it, he's like, I'm not going to shoot the messenger about this. He shot some other people, but he did not shoot the messenger. So it just says a little bit just about his character. I'm interested to see what that's all about in the coming issues. Scott O'Neill mentions Thrash really hasn't been a member of the team for almost a year to this point, too. So it really came out of nowhere. Think about this. This is New Warriors issue 37. Thrash kind of left the team at the end of the Nothing But the Truth storyline in issue 25. So it's literally been 12 months.
That's a great point. You know, I was about to say we missed that time in podcasting, but no, we do this once a month. So the same amount of time, for some reason, it doesn't feel like it. Excellent point. I'll leave it there. Let's see. I'll pick up another page. While I'm doing that, I just think a tag team WWE style duo, especially from the ladies' side.
Poison Memories.
Poison Memories.
See, hold on, wait. I got one now. Like I tried to. I think that if like you try to go to sleep and you take too much melatonin, Poison Memories.
Poison Memories. Yeah, that could happen. Bernal's in the chat. We're all in agreement. Poison Memories is a very stupid group name.
I wouldn't go that far.
They could have done better, but
to me, I'm honestly plus or minus about it. Like same thing with like Midnight's Fire. Like, could you make fun of Midnight's Fire thing? Yeah. Could you make fun of Night Thrasher? Yes. Could you make fun of Namorita? You can make fun of a lot of stuff. I'm indifferent about the name. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Like I said, could have been better, could have been worse. But it's fun joke fodder. Anyways, next page is checking in with Namorita. Again, Derek does some really good art here. Very good sequential work there, especially in the bottom 4 panels. And I really included it just to kind of remind everyone that this is the fallout from her fun night out where she let her guard down, and I doubt she will do that again anytime soon.
Yeah, she was paying for that. This clearly is. It can't be a one issue thing, right? Like you're not gonna be like, oh yeah, your dalliance, your one night stand, your hookup while you were drunk, it led to us like losing family members and having family members traumatized. Okay, Nita, we're just gonna totally forgive you about that. And
ooh, it had some fallout, man.
That sounds like one of those. It's like, you know what? You clearly didn't mean to do that, but I'm kind of have to not see your face.
Yeah.
For
we're gonna need a timeout.
So yeah, we're gonna need a long timeout. Not like a 30-second timeout, like a TV timeout. Yeah. Next page.
All right. Hindsight Lad. We all knew we were going to talk about Hindsight Lad in this issue. This is Robbie's friend who has discovered that he is Speedball, and he's basically really pressing him to make me a new warrior. I'll tell everybody who you are. I want to be Hindsight Lad. I want to be a strategist, someone who build strategy after things have already happened and tell you guys how it could have gone better.
I think that's hilarious. Like, I remember that quote about like, well, we're like, if you're not going to be out there with us on adventures because you don't have any powers, how are you going to tell us about strategy? Like, why, after the fact, of course.
You know, it's funny in one hand. On the other hand, like, there is a use for that. After action is how you get better.
That's true.
Why you need that costume for it is a whole other thing.
And if you notice, he has rear view mirrors. Like,
that's the icing on the cake.
Good Lord. And like that logo is ridiculously lame. It just, everything about it. And the thing that I find funny about it, I did not read the issue. Like some point, I'm talking about in the distant future, Hindsight Lad kind of becomes a bad guy. Carlton Lafroige is his name. He like has like a heel turn, turns bad guy, and you can see some of those seeds planted because like in order to get what he wants, he wasn't afraid to kind of do some bad things. Like I want to be on this team, so you're gonna either let me on this team or I'm gonna tell everybody that you're a superhero. Even though like Speedy could have bounced his butt on top of the Empire State Building and left him there, but he didn't. So like I could see that. Like I mean he has at least a little bit of wiliness going on. So I guess I can appreciate that. You know, in a sense, like kind of like I'm talking about not even a Dollar Tree version. Let's say a half Dollar Tree version of like Tim Drake about how he found out who Batman was. That's what this is to me.
I'm thinking that the people who made the movie The Incredibles read this because this is exactly how their villain syndrome was made.
Oh yeah,
but he was trying to be excuse me, partners. I believe it was with Mr. Incredible, and yeah, then he became a formidable foe for them. So we'll see.
Good old Scott having our back says it's in one issue of She-Hulk. It was in the aftermath of the first Civil War. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a single issue of She-Hulk or not. So I don't know. I know a little bit about her and I know her deal, but that's about it.
She-Hulk fan, but that's about the time I faded off. But there was definitely some good She-Hulk back in the day.
And real quick, Trey Black says, "Don't you dare compare him to Tim." Too late, baby. I did. I can't undo it. So sorry. All right. Where's the next page?
The 9th of 10 is the page you all saw coming. Is this all right? Now help me out, people in the chat. Is this Rage's third costume? Because I feel like there was like a tiger stripe costume, and then there was a more green-based costume, and now there's this costume. I feel like this is costume 3 that I'm aware of. Folks in the chat can help me out on that. But this is the new one, and it's very divisive, as we've already learned in the chat. I will now answer the question. Yeah, I like this. I think it's cool. I think it's, especially in this moment. I think I'm still the biggest fan of the tiger stripe. But in this moment where he's done with it all,
yeah,
and he's about to take care of business, it's very much a blend of a Mad Max, which is a revenge movie, and a Jason Voorhees, which is just a stone cold, unstoppable killer. And that is what he is in the moment. So it fits really well here.
And, I understand 13 years old, like, I don't know, fell in some mutant goo or whatever. And since he's not a turtle, he just became a jacked human. But, like, bro looks jacked on that picture, boy. Like, and he just, with that mask on too, you don't put on no mask like that unless you about to earn some stuff up, man. And I love they kind of set it up in the background, like everybody else is talking about necessarily what to do of the strategy, and we should turn ourselves in, we should not turn ourselves in. And like he said his spiel, and Silhouette was like, we don't have time for this. He's like, oh, I know. That's why I'm going ahead and leaving. Like, my mind's made up. I don't know what y'all are doing. I know what I'm doing. So it'll be interesting to see how that manifests. But as far as a use of a splash page, Lord knows that the 90s had their share of gratuitous splash pages. This was not one of them. This was an excellent use of a splash page to where Rage just comes across looking badass. It was a great picture.
And, I'm going to address Jason Lady in the chat. He's not a fan of this costume he already mentioned. He says it's too over the top, chain spikes, ripped shirt, giant R on the belt buckle, truck grill helmet. And I don't disagree with any of that. I just feel like in this moment, this really captures who he is in the moment. And that's why I think it works. Really.
I want to add something. He's 13.
It's still better than Kitty Pryde's attempts.
Oh, God. Yes. Like, yeah, he's 13 years old. Somebody mentioned that he had to be a fan of the Road Warriors, the wrestlers. So I mean, and which possibly could have been it, because I watched the heck out of wrestling as a kid. I watched the heck out of some wrestling now, but I watched the heck out of some wrestling as a kid, and sure enough, around the early 90s, the Road Warriors / Demolition were a popular tag team in wrestling. So if you want to kind of convey a message of being a muscle badass, maybe that would be it. So I disagree with Jason Lady. I don't think it is that. It is over the top, but to convey what he was trying to convey, like that plus 13-year-old, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I say it fits the moment. It fits the moment. And if I'm looking back in hindsight, and I do think, and I know people in the chat have been helping out, and it's hard to keep up with, but I do remember the sort of luchador tiger mask outfit, and then the more green one, and then this one. I still like the original one best. But again, we've said it a bunch. In this moment, I think it's very, and the drawing is so good. Derek's drawing is so good. It's just wonderful. This moment is highly reminiscent of one of my very favorite movies with Kurt Russell called Soldier. Where she says, what do you, this like 20 badass armed dudes on the planet. She's like, what are you going to do? And he goes,
kill them all.
I'm going to kill them all. So, yeah, I'm ready to see this go down. I imagine he's not, because that would be a lot for a 13-year-old to handle. Mm-hmm. Let's go to the very final page. You all knew it was coming. I have a question about it. Is this also a costume redesign? Because I feel like it is.
Mm-hmm.
And this is he made an interesting choice here, where this drawing is exceptionally Frank Miller to me, with its hard, heavy blacks taking out any kind of, line work or definition in the vast majority of it, and just using it sort of as a canvas to enhance all the other things. And I think it works really well. I think it's very cool. And it's neat, especially, we talked earlier about putting ourselves in the headspace of Night Thrasher has been gone for a year. And he's all like, okay, so you did all this to rattle my cage? Cage rattled.
Mm-hmm.
Let's rock and roll. And I'm like, all right. I'm excited.
Man, Marvel Unlimited, I like this image more than I like the image in the book. And that's normally not the case. I don't know what it is. Maybe just because, did you take this one screenshot, or was it, no, this was the entire last page, right?
Yeah, this is the last page.
This just looks better than the book. I don't know why it does, but it does. This is a redesign. I remember this distinctly on the cover of Night Thrasher #1, which is what this story ties into. Javier Saltares draws that cover, and it was a good cover. And I love that, there's always variations, and he's always been about the black and red. He's always had a spike in the costume as well. And usually the bandana too. I don't know why he has a bandana. Maybe it's just like a tourniquet or something like that, like emergency tourniquet. But but there's always been some variation. And so this one just looks a little bit more streamlined than his original one did. It's more simple. I don't know if I'm the craziest about it. I think I like the original one a little bit better, but I can understand tactically why he might want to streamline it a little bit, because that original one looks like it had to weigh 700 pounds. And I'm sure there was something that he had to offset it or whatever. And I know that it augmented his powers. We've talked about that. So it'll be interesting to see what this new suit does.
Couple other good questions in the chat. Albert, he might be joking, but I'd like to know, is there a skateboard with this costume?
I don't know.
I hope
probably.
So. I like that part of it. I know it's very 90s, but I still think it's kitschy fun. There's some discussion in the chat. It appears this might be the first time Derek's drawn Night Thrasher.
I think it is. It's not the first time that he's drawn Dwayne. Dwayne has made an appearance last year.
I remember him.
But Night Thrasher, the actual costume, I think this is the first time that we're seeing Derek draw Night Thrasher. So And just, man, look at that image. I don't know what they did to pull the colors out. Maybe they just made the blacks a little bit more blacker and it just kind of faded a little bit over time with my comic book. But I like this image.
It's a good image. It's very Frank Miller, in my opinion, and that's a compliment. All right, that is it for my pages.
Real quick, a comment I didn't know. Trey Blacks was replying to Jason Lady and just saying he actually kept the cowl closed until a little boy in the hospital told him he should show more of his face. I mean, bro's a billionaire. He could show his face. It's not like it's going to matter. He's rich. He can be protected. And I had a comment start from a long time ago, and I'm sure Jarrod will appreciate it. Jason Lady says, Poison Memories is kind of a dopey name. Could be a Skid Row love ballad. We got nothing left, baby, but our poison memories.
Well done. Well done.
There we go. We're a little bit over time, but I don't mind. We're reading reader comments or watcher comments.
Somebody gave a 14-minute review of the new Night Thrasher comic.
Yeah, we should talk to him about that. So, Jarrod, if you want to move on to the next section, that's fine by me.
All right. I believe that means we're going to need to talk about Ultimate Warrior versus the Ultimate Worrier. So, Delvin, who do you think acquitted themselves the best in this issue to be your warrior?
Woo! You know what?
I know who's holding all the cards right now.
I'm gonna go with the bad guy. I'm gonna go with the bad guy on this one. Like, he was cool. He was calm. He had a plan. He executed said plan, and the Warriors were not ready. One thing that Fabian did extraordinarily well during this book is, if you notice, like you mentioned, like that they would show artistically that the van was driving away and they left like some article that, you know, that person that they kidnapped, they left something behind. What he also did was showed that there was a basketball game going on. And at the very one of the very first ones, it was the start of the game, and like it was like by the halftime, the Warriors' entire world was completely rocked. And it's like, dang. So the man had a plan. It took him weeks. He executed it. And like, just speaking strategically, I am a fan of a man of the plan. So I'm gonna go with Kimiko.
And I agree. He's holding all the cards right now. So let's go to Ultimate Warrior. Who are we most worried about? There's plenty of people to worry about.
I could go with Rage or Thrash. So I'm going to say I'm worried about Rage. You know, they oftentimes in teen books, they are going to like take that teen to the limit, but usually either via comics code or whether they just simply think that like the audience doesn't really want to see it, they don't take them all the way there. But we're at that point now, like Rage is so mad. The person who he loved most in life was killed. And he was unable to protect it. And he's like, he didn't make any qualms about it. Not like, I'm going to hurt them bad. He's like, I am going to kill them. Oh, okay. Like, does a 13-year-old really grasp the concept of what that means? Does a 43-year-old grasp the concept of what that means if they hadn't served or anything like that? Probably not. So I'm worried about Rage. What about you?
I'm going to say I'll be very practical and say I'm most worried about Firestar's dad, because he's the one who is literally on the edge right now. He's been shot. Will he make it? He probably has severe burns and perhaps cancer. But all jokes aside, he is the one who is knocking on heaven's door. So I have to be worried about him the most.
Leaving behind nothing but poison memories.
Poison
memories. Matt Passo says, for Warrior, Angelica for snapping up her dad and getting him to safety. That's some hero-ish right there, ain't it? And Matt Passo says, Warrior, Rage for what he might do. Nita for how the team might treat her. Not likely. Nicely, right?
I'm totally a party girl.
Ooh, should have calmed them gills down, gal. Eric Porta says Warrior poison memories because Rage is going after them.
That's fair. That's fair.
And just one more thing, if you caught like Fabian in a great piece of continuity, said like they were linked with advanced idea mechanics. Midnight's Fire was a part of Poison Memories, if I'm not mistaken, way back in issue 2. And they were being funded by Advanced Idea Mechanics.
The toothpaste company.
Yeah, good continuity. Jason Lady, Warrior, Firestar, and Rage jointly, they are out for revenge. Eric Porter says, Warrior, Night Thrasher, who's back? And with a splash page to boot. Jason Lady said, Warrior, Mr. Jones, he got shot and will he live?
Yep, that's the one I picked.
Yep. And last, Auburn Elvis says, I'm worried about he meant hindsight lad. He said highlight lad, but
Which is another great idea for a character. Like they just show up to like highlight. You did a good job.
So instead of like the mirrors facing backwards, they face forward and like they shine light. There you go. That's
You're doing real well.
That kid's gonna get shot in the head for hanging around the New Warriors. I don't know whether that's a joke or not, and that's how he wound up going out.
I don't. We'll find out together.
I don't know. So with that, we can get to the ratings. 1 through 10. The start of the storyline, Jarrod. It was a heavy hitter. What would you rate it?
This is a big comeback from, I had my complaints before about sort of the heavy-handedness of some of the previous issues where we covered the war-torn Trans-Siberian Orchestra and the prison issue. This is more of a return to just really solid character, consequences, story, and I thought it was a breath of fresh air. And not that I, despise the other ones. I didn't give any of them like a 1 or a 2, I don't think. But I thought it was just a return to really good character storytelling. So your boy Jarrod is going to rank this one pretty high. Much like the cover, I'm going to give it 9. This is a double 9 book for me.
I'm going to read Scott O'Neill's comment very quickly. He says that Firestar is his ultimate warrior. She's not as close to the edge as Rage, but she ain't far behind, and she can do a lot more damage if she loses it, as they have shown a lot of times. Yeah, she could. So let's hope that Mr. Jones turns out okay. Just very quickly, guys, if you want me to read your ratings for the issue, go ahead and pipe in because we're getting close to closing out. I give it a 9 as well. Like, the tone setter from the start was like, I like that in movies too, where, sometimes in movies they do the exposition and they have to ramp things up, or sometimes they do a funny vignette. We're at the table, we're eating dinner, because that's why you came to watch this movie, to see people at a table eating dinner. And like, maybe not, but sometimes action immediately, and you're like, what? Let me put the phone down. Like let me put the popcorn down. Let me pay attention to what is going on.
James Bond way pre-title sequence.
Yep, it got your attention immediately. So Rage's grandmother was dead in a few panels. It was tragic, and it immediately got your attention. So like, I'm at a strong 9. I have no problem with closing it out to a 10. Later, I haven't asked you this off channel, but on channel, do you have Night Thrasher 1? I think I do. Do you have Night Thrasher 1 on Marvel Unlimited?
Oh, we're talking like 1992 or something.
Because that's the continuation of this story, and then New Warriors 38 closes it out. Do you want to go ahead and like just briefly talk about it at the start of next month's?
I will make a quasi promise to do so, and if I somehow forget to read it or don't get around to it, then I will back off of that. But yeah, we'll try to take a look at that.
If not, no worries, Jarrod. I have no problem whatsoever with giving a review of a Night Thrasher #1.
I am well aware. You and Jason can just sit at the comic shop all day just agreeing with each other.
It would be the opposite of poison and memories. Matt Passo says this issue gets a 10. I was all in. I felt the angst for the characters, and I want to know what happens now. Auburn Elvis says I rated an 8. It jumped right in with the action. I'm legit interested in how this turns out. Scott O'Neill says 10. Fabian and Derek were at the absolute top of their games in this storyline. It kicked off the second golden age of New Warriors Volume 1. Eric Porter gives it a 10. Even though I read it when it came out, I still can't wait to see what happens next. Me too, because that next cover, I love it. That next cover might be a 10. This one could be. Next one probably definitely will be. I enjoyed it. Jason Lady, yeah, go ahead and peep it, Jarrod. You got that. I'm going to peep it.
I'm going to have to check that out within the next, month.
Next month. So Jason Lady gave it a 7, says, we've never seen a superhero team's loved ones gone after like this. Crosses a line. The angst and anger and fear is sold very well, but points off for killing Granny Staples. She was a cool old lady. So we got some 10s. We got some 9s. We got some 8s. We got a 7. But from for a surprisingly morose Jason Lady, we need to check in on Jason, see if he needs some cereal or something.
Leave Jason Lady alone.
Oh man,
I'm a grumpy man from time to time too.
Man, we
most of the time I'm grumpy. Let's be honest.
We all got our grumpiness for sure. I'm only ribbing with a good buddy who's come and hosted the show from time to time. I certainly appreciate that. In any event, everyone, thanks for hanging along with us. That's the show. Please come back and join us for the next episode where we discuss, of course, New Warriors 38. Now, 38 this time we're going to switch it in YouTube. You're going to forget that I ever made this mistake.
The next issue, we're going to
the next issue, 38, where the family values storyline concludes. And if you'd like to hear more from us, Longbox Crusade is in a lot of places. Most podcatchers. X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Patreon. You look for Longbox Crusade, you will find us. On Patreon, we would love for you to be a part of our Crusaders Club. We have 40 members, and we'd love to nudge that number up to 50. That would be awesome. Only $1 a month, y'all. You can get access to a lot of stuff we do. You can possibly come on a podcast with us. That's been happening a lot recently. We had Matt Passo do Transformers Chronicles 45, which has not come out yet. Matt Passo's done a G.I. Joe. Who else? Clint Robeson. Clint Robeson came in, did a Transformers for me as well. Give me some more examples. Jarrod.
Tons of folks on Action Film Face Off. We're working through them all. We're going to catch up. I put the call out over a year ago, and we've almost caught up with everybody who needs to do it. We get a lot of folks coming in Action Film Face Off from the Patreon members. So that show is almost exclusively Patreon guests at this point.
It's like the old Cameo song. He put the word up and people responded.
It's the code word.
That's right.
No matter where you say it, you'll be heard it on the B side of that.
Poison Memories.
Poison Memories.
I'm not even looking at your face. I'm on the script. I saw the setup. YouTube, everyone, same thing. Look for Longbox Crusade. You would find us. We would love if you would like this podcast. We'd love if you would subscribe to our network, and we'd love if you tell a friend about it too. Email, we're going old school, contact@longboxcrusade.com, and even older school, we have a phone number, 707-532-LBOX. Pick up the phone. And if you would like to call and leave a voice message about this show or any of the other shows on the Longbox Crusade Network, Jarrod, would you tell everybody where you can be found?
Sure. If you're watching along and you haven't given us the old like and thumbs up, we'd love it if you do that. I can be found at Yard Sale Artist, Twitter, formerly known as X, formerly that place, and Instagram and Facebook. Those are the places you can find me at Yard Sale Artist, or you can check out my artwork at www.theyardsaleartist.com. Since this is indeed a live show and some of you guys are watching, if you do want to come see me live at a con. My next appearance is going to be at Toy Atlanta, not this coming weekend, but the next weekend. So if you're in the Atlanta area and you've been watching this, you want to come by and say hi, have me sign all your new Warriors comics for you, come see me at Toy Atlanta.
You can find me on Twitter at DEE_RAY1977. And you can find me on Instagram at Delvin Ray. Everybody, have a good night. And remember, be a hero to someone, even if it's just yourself. And until next time, come off of mute.
I was so professional, I became unprofessional.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm here to help you out.
I want to get us all set. There we go.
New Warriors, come out to play. And don't leave anybody any poison memories.
Bye, everybody.
Y'all have a good night, everybody.